What I'm about to show you may be the most important warning we've received since 9/11. The world didn't just shift overnight. It lurched towards something darker because within the span of just a few short hours, Iran launched a coordinated missile attack on Israel. China imposed a rare earth ban on the United States, and President Donald J. Trump officially declared a national emergency for the White House. This was no coincidence, guys. It was a two-front warning shot, military and economic, and they hit us simultaneously. Missiles, minerals, manipulation. Iran's missiles tore through the skies over Tel Aviv. Entire blocks in central Israel were shaken. Civilians were wounded. Roads were destroyed. Interceptor rounds lighting up the skyline, like some were even missing their targets. The Iron Dome itself was overwhelmed. Israel struck back immediately, bombing nuclear sites and eliminating top Iranian commanders. But while that battle exploded on live television, another quieter war front was already underway. China moved silently. No explosions, no fireballs, just a single policy decision to cut off America from the rare earth minerals that we depend on to build fighter jets, electric vehicles, missiles, and even our smartphones. Think about that, guys. No minerals means no weapons, no chips, no tech, no defense. So Trump responded fast. He invoked the Defense Production Act, a Cold War era authority, calling it a 21st century Manhattan Project to break China's grip and restart America's rare earth mining machine. Now, here's the most chilling part here, guys. What if this was only a test? What if Iran's missiles and China's embargo were a soft, maybe a coordinated soft launch? You see what I'm saying here? Not World War III yet, but the dry run, perhaps. A calculated move to see how much pressure America can handle before it breaks. Now, ask yourself, why did Iran and China move at the exact same time? Why did Trump say this is the most dangerous moment since 9/11? And why are intelligence officials warning that Russia and North Korea are watching this and they're taking notes? So today's video, there's several things we need to break down, including the timeline of attacks that proves that this was not random, the rare earth resources buried in American soil, and why President Trump may seize them by force. And, of course, the global axis of aggression forming right now while most Americans are asleep at the wheel. Now, if you guys appreciate the daily news updates, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, and subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate your support. It started just after midnight local time, but by dawn, the entire world was already watching. Iran launched waves of ballistic missiles directly at Israel, targeting not just one site, but an entire network of cities across the country. Anywhere from Tel Aviv to Haifa, explosions rang out, sirens echoed, and panic was spreading like wildfire. This wasn't just one rogue missile. No, this was a coordinated, sustained barrage. This is the kind that we have not seen since the Gulf War. Live footage showed Israel's Iron Dome defense system lighting up the sky, trying to intercept incoming rounds in real time. But not all were stopped. Civilians were wounded, buildings were damaged, windows were shattered for blocks. Ambulances rushed to at least 7 confirmed impact zones, with military helicopters that are circling overhead. The Israeli government issued a rare nationwide alert telling citizens to get to bomb shelters immediately and stay off the roads. And it wasn't just Tel Aviv. Northern cities and civilian infrastructure were targeted as well. This wasn't just about territory. This was about sending a clear message to the West and to the United States specifically. But Israel did not hesitate. Within hours, the IDF launched a fierce and surgical counterstrike. Their targets? Well, suspected nuclear development sites buried deep within Iran's interior, and several facilities tied directly to the IRGC, which is also known as the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. So according to Israeli media, at least 2 top IRGC commanders were killed in the first wave. More were wounded. Iran's regime scrambled to assess the damage. But keep in mind, warplanes were still in the air. The Israeli home front commander issued another urgent warning to its people. This is not over. More strikes may be coming. Remain inside shelters until further notice. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is clearly not just a warning, okay? This is wartime footing. But here's what makes this particular moment different. While Tel Aviv was under fire, something chilling was actually unfolding right here on U.S. soil in Washington, D.C. Right inside the White House, President Donald J. Trump, he was briefed in the Situation Room. According to the senior aides, Trump was calm, but he was very direct about it. He was focused and he was furious. He condemned the Iranian attack. Trump reaffirmed America's commitment to Israel and issued one of the most sobering warnings of his presidency. And I quote him on this one. Iran's actions are not isolated. We are tracking signs that this attack was part of a broader multi-front strategy aimed at weakening the Western world from within. And then Trump dropped the hammer. Just as Iranian rockets were being intercepted over Israeli skies, another threat emerged. But this one didn't come from a missile. This one came from Beijing, from China's silent hand and a move that could cripple America from the inside out. Because while you and I were watching the skies, they hit us somewhere else entirely. So, of course, we need to talk about how China quietly struck at the core of America's tech and defense industries and how President Trump responded immediately by activating a set of powers that we have not seen since the darkest days of the Cold War decades ago. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to explain just how a single Chinese decision could shut down everything from our fighter jets to our phones, and why President Trump's emergency declaration wasn't just about Israel, it was about survival. Well, a new day, a new chance to finally stop overpaying for Medicare. Leslie Taylor, she's one of you guys. She's a YouTube commentator. She literally made one call to Chapter and is now saving $1,000 a year. I know it sounds wild, but isn't that crazy? Just imagine saving $1,000 is like having an extra $1,000 that you find in between the couch cushions or something, right? Darlene Walraven, she left a comment on a previous video and she said, "Thank you so much, Ron. Saving me $200 a year and lowered everything." Well, don't thank me, Darlene. I'm glad you were able to benefit from calling Chapter. Look, guys, if you're looking for peace of mind and you're looking for more breathing room in your budget, Chapter is your next step. If you're over 65, approaching 65, give Chapter a call and see exactly how much money they can save you on your Medicare. You can give them a call right now. Phone number is 909-563-8279, or better yet, hit them up on their website right now. Click the link in the description down below. askchapter.org/Ron. No stress, just real solutions. Let me know how much you save in the comments. Can't wait to hear the good news that you share with me. So while the world was essentially glued to like live footage of missiles flying over Israel, there was another strike that happened without a single explosion. China just cut off American oxygen. Can you believe this? In an unannounced move, the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, reimposed strict export controls on rare earth minerals, the hidden backbone of every fighter jet, drone, electric vehicle, satellite, missile system, smartphone, computer chip that the West depends on. Let me be clear, guys. We're not just talking about some obscure metals. We're not talking about something that doesn't really matter. We're talking about the critical elements that make modern life and modern warfare even possible. Without them, your factories stop, your power grids falter, your military supply chain collapses. And here's what's chilling. This wasn't just economic policy. Now, what if I told you that the next major copper discovery essential for powering President Trump's America First energy agenda is happening right now, just hours from Boise, Idaho? What if I told you that a company with the ticker symbol Zeus, yes, literally Zeus, Z-E-U-S, has locked down land right next to a $188 million copper discovery that Barrick Gold is throwing money at like it's Black Friday? Now, here's the kicker, guys. Zeus is still under the radar. Most investors haven't even heard about this move yet, but after today, that all changes. We're going to dive deep into the wilds of Idaho and Nevada, this new copper battleground of President Trump's Made in America economy. Now, if you believe in energy independence, hard assets, and draining the globalist swamp, then guys, this might very well be the story that you've been waiting for. So stick with me, because the most shocking part, this company is trading right now under the radar on both the CSE and the OTCQB exchanges. And the deeper we go, the more this looks like a direct scale discovery story that could change everything. So today's video is proudly sponsored by Zeus North American Mining Corporation. But before you scratch your head at the name, let me explain. The company is listed on the CSE exchange under the ticker symbol ZEUS and on the OTCQB exchange under ticker symbol ZUUZF. And while the name reflects its biotech roots, the company is now laser focused on what America needs most: silver, gold, and copper, the literal fuel of President Trump's industrial revival. Their assets span Idaho and Nevada, two of the most patriotic, pro-mining, pro-energy states in the United States. And guess what, guys? They're literally sitting right next to discoveries that already caught the eye of billion-dollar players like Barrick Gold. So let's start with Cuddy Mountain in Idaho. This is their flagship project, and it's no coincidence that it's located right next to Leviathan porphyry discovery made by Hercules Silver. Now, that discovery triggered a $23 million investment from Barrick Gold, and what did Zeus do? Well, they staked 101 claims over 2,000 acres right next to it. This is what we call strategic aggression. New data from their 2024 program uncovered a 3 kilometer by 3 kilometer copper molybdenum soil anomaly with samples hitting up to 0.38% copper and 28.5 parts per million molybdenum. Now, that's not small talk, guys. That is the kind of footprint you see before a major porphyry copper discovery. Now, the property lies within Seven Devils Volcanics, the same geological belt that hosts the Leviathan porphyry. And guess what, guys? Zeus's rock grab samples hit up to 3.8% copper, 307 grams per ton silver, and 182 ppm molybdenum. Now, if you think that that is interesting, wait until you hear what they just found at their Nevada property, where President Trump's America First strategy could turn copper into political gold. Oh, and I haven't even told you about the historic drill hole at Cuddy, 90 feet at 2.02 ounces per ton silver back in the 70s. Guys, that, folks, this is exactly what we call overlooked treasure. Now, let's talk Nevada for a second here, okay? Trump country, mining country, liberty country, right? Zeus secured 2 properties here, Delker and Bullseye, totaling 8,800 acres. Delker alone covers 400 claims, while Bullseye adds another 40, just 17 kilometers to the north. And these aren't just barren lands. Delker borders with the historic Delker mine, which produced copper at an average grade of 6.2% back in 1916 through 1917. The neighborhood matters too. Ridgeline Minerals is actively exploring right next door at their Big Blue project, targeting the same porphyry copper skarn systems that Zeus believes lie beneath their own claims. Surface samples? How about up to 14.8% copper, 2.8 grams per ton gold, and historic drilling that cut 3.86 grams per ton gold over 4.57 meters? Well, yes, it's actually road accessible, it can be worked year round, and it comes with a 3% net smelter royalty, of which Zeus can buy back 1.5% under preset terms. Now, this is how you structure flexibility into a long-term win. And this is just the beginning. I mean, we got a historic silver play in the Limi range and a gold silver property called Selway with grab samples up to 53 ounces per ton silver. Yeah, guys, this is not a typo. At Great Western, Zeus is targeting carbonate replacement deposit, but the real kicker here is that this system may be connected to a blind porphyry, like just waiting to be discovered. In 2021, samples pulled as high as 7,300 grams per ton silver and 4.25% copper. And this isn't wild guessing. The Santa Eulalia CRD in Mexico, the world's largest, is the model that Zeus is working from. And then, of course, there's Selway, hosted in tonalitic orthogneiss and granodite. These kind kinds of rocks that produce structurally controlled high-grade gold, silver veins. Historic ore bin samples came in at 53.6 ounces per ton silver and 1.08 ounces per ton gold, while more recent samples from 2021 returned 1.37 grams per ton gold and 7.25 grams per ton silver. This ground has not even been scratched, ladies and gentlemen. So what makes this company so different? Well, it's not just that they have found the right ground, or that they're exploring in Trump-favored territory, or even that they've got historic high-grade copper and silver samples. It's the fact that they've got a management team with real teeth, guys who have helped build companies worth billions. Simon Clark, he took American Lithium to a $1.2 billion market cap. Dean Besser, he ran multi-billion-dollar global exploration programs. These are not rookies, guys. These gentlemen know how to make discoveries, build companies, and create serious value. Now, let me be absolutely clear, guys. I am not an investment advisor. This video is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research, consult your own financial advisor, and never invest based on hype alone, even if the story sounds as electrifying as this one. That's Zeus North American Mining Corporation, traded on the CSE under ticker symbol ZEUS.CN and on the OTCQB exchange under ticker symbol ZUUZF. And with President Trump back in office, energy dependence rising, and copper in short supply, the future isn't just red, white, and blue. It might just be copper and silver too. This was clearly timed. You see what they're trying to do here, right, guys? China moved within hours of Iran's missile barrage. Two different battlefields, one physical, one economic, but they struck the West at the same time. You see, right? So some people are calling it a coincidence. Those people, some people don't believe yet. But inside the White House, President Trump called it what it looks like. He called it a two-front test. Iran throws the punch. China cuts off the bandages. You see that? That's not chance. That's coordination. So what did Trump do? Well, he reached for a weapon most presidents never dare to touch: the Defense Production Act. This is a Cold War era executive authority designed to mobilize America's industrial base in times of war, disaster, or economic siege. Trump invoked it, and fast. He declared a national emergency, mobilizing the Department of Defense and Department of Energy to fast-track rare earth mining inside the United States, deploy $180 million in emergency federal funding to mining projects, override red tape in red states like Wyoming, Texas, and parts of Arizona, and prepare to legally seize stalled projects if states like California and Minnesota keep blocking production. In Trump's own words, this is a 21st century Manhattan Project. We will mine what we need, build what we need, and never allow our enemies to control the minerals that run our nation. But as always, of course, there's resistance. You've got environmental lobbyists, Democrat governors, and corporate activists. They're already lining up with lawsuits to stop these projects before they even begin. In fact, California has 27 ongoing lawsuits tied to rare earth production, and now Trump's order would override all of them. This is turning into a domestic battle now, a war over who controls the ground beneath our feet. Because here's what the experts are warning: you can't defend your skies if you can't mine your soil, right? And you can't win a global confrontation if your enemies control the minerals that your economy needs to survive. But Trump is not standing alone. So, of course, we need to look into why the U.S. intelligence is now openly investigating coordination between Iran and China, the global coalition Trump is building right now behind the scenes to counter this growing axis of aggression, and why this moment right here, right now, might be the final wake-up call before World War becomes more than just a warning. Now, if what happens next goes unchecked, I want you to understand that America won't just lose supply chains. It could lose its strategic future. Now, here's the part that most people miss because it's not in the headlines. You see, guys, when you zoom out and you think about it, when you line up the timelines, the targets, the pressure points, something terrifying starts to emerge. Iran didn't just attack Israel. China didn't just limit rare earths. They both moved at the exact moment America's leadership shifted gears under President Trump, a leader who openly promised to end the endless wars and dismantle the globalist status quo. And now it's becoming clearer by the hour. I mean, this wasn't just two random moves. This was a stress test, a dry run, a soft launch, if you will. One nation hits our ally, right? The other nation hits our economy, both within the same 24-hour window. Why? Because they're watching, guys. They're watching to see how Trump responds, how the West reacts, and most importantly, how divided America still is at home. And here's what's breaking behind the scenes, okay? According to senior intelligence officials inside the National Security Council, there's growing concern that Iran and China are coordinating, not formally, but strategically, sharing timelines, watching reactions, looking for cracks in the Western alliance. And it's not just those two guys. There are more. In fact, Russia is watching. North Korea is watching. Even Venezuela and Turkey, they're all running military drills during this exact window. So what's Trump doing about it? Well, I'll tell you what, Trump's not just reacting, he's building. Behind closed doors, President Trump has reinitiated strategic talks with key allies. Japan, whose stockpiling of rare earths since 2010 is now being viewed as a global case study in foresight. Ukraine and Saudi Arabia, not just for oil, but for the mineral extraction capabilities they hold underground. These nations are sitting on resources that could counterbalance China's dominance. Australia, okay? Australia, already one of the world's top rare earth suppliers, is now being counted and courted for a direct trade and security alliance to bypass CCP-controlled routes. And yes, guys, Trump is calling for a new anti-China economic alliance, one designed to reshape global trade routes the same way NATO reshaped defense alliances after World War II. This is a whole new battlefield, guys. It's no longer about tanks and missiles. Now it's chips, it's data, it's minerals, it's information control. And I think the deeper you go, the clearer it becomes, right? This isn't World War III yet, but it's the world's rehearsal for it. Because when missiles fall in Tel Aviv, when America's minerals are cut off overnight, when your president activates Cold War powers in response, you're not in peacetime anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now. But here's what's coming next, and it may be the most important part of this video. President Trump's emergency address to the American people and what he revealed behind the podium. What happens if America doesn't act fast? And why Trump just told the nation, this isn't a drill. This is the dry run for something bigger. You need to hear what he said. You need to see where this leads, guys. So the very next morning, President stepped behind the podium, flags behind him, the seal of the United States below his feet, his voice measured, rather firm. This wasn't just a typical press conference. This wasn't just politics. This was a warning to a nation that's been sleepwalking toward disaster. And these were his exact words. We are now in the most dangerous moment since 9/11. But unlike then, the threats we face they're no longer in the shadows. They're in plain sight and in power. President Trump spoke of two attacks in two different languages, one in missiles, one in minerals. But both, he said, were part of the same strategic ambition to kneecap America before we could rise again. And if we don't act fast, well, the cost is theoretical. It's not hypothetical. It's immediate. It's tangible. It's real. EV production halts, defense supply chain grind to a stop, consumer electronics gone, military readiness crippled. Because without rare earths, there are no fighter jets. There's no GPS. There's no guided weapons. Not in time, not at scale. And that's what makes this particular moment different from all other scares. This time, our enemies didn't hit us with planes or bombs. They hit us with supply chains, regulations, and timing. Trump didn't just address the threat. He issued a national challenge. He called on Congress to back the Defense Production Act, not in months, but in days. He called on private companies to mobilize as if this were war, because it is. He called on states to stop the lawsuits and stop protecting foreign dependency in the name of green policies that cannot survive without the very minerals that China just cut off. And then he said this, quote, "This is not a drill. This is the dry run for something bigger. You can choose to ignore it, but if we fail to act, we may not get another chance," end quote. Think about it, guys. Because what you're watching right now, this isn't politics anymore. This is survival. This is about whether or not we control our future or we hand it over to regimes that want to see the West on its knees. So what happens next? Well, that's the real question. Because Trump has drawn the line. America has been warned. The enemies of freedom have made their move. Now it's up to us. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to stay informed, one. I want you to share this video, and I want you to comment down below. Do you believe Iran and China are working together? Or was this a terrifying coincidence? And if you're ready to take back control of your future, don't just watch history happen. I want you to be a part of it, because as President Trump said, this isn't the end. This is the warning. Hit the link in the description down below. See how much money Chapter can save you on your Medicare, and we'll see you next time.